Hey everyone, welcome back to another review. Well, today I have something I never thought I would be reviewing on the channel. These little guys right here are knockoffs of the Mattel Snap Squad figures that have been retooled to actually transform into little robots. So how weird and cool is that? I first heard about these from Ted Brothers. He got them in last week. He ordered these off of Amazon. They go for like $15 for the 4-pack. As soon as I saw that these things transform, I was in. For those of you that know me, there's one thing I like just as much as dinosaurs, and that is Transformers. So yeah, for 15 bucks, these things are pretty cool. I'll leave a link in the description to Amazon if you want to order these figures. And I have to say, these things came really quick. With this pandemic going on, when you order stuff from Amazon now, I have Prime. It doesn't take 2 days anymore for things to get here. It takes like 5, 6 days, a week sometimes. I ordered these from Amazon, and they took like 36 hours to get here. So I was really impressed by the shipping speed of these, even though it took my Mattel Sinoceratops almost a week to get here, but whatever. So let's just go over the packaging really quick before we take a closer look at these four figures. It comes in this little box. I was actually surprised that all four figures fit in here. These figures are almost about twice the size of the standard Snap Squads. I was quite impressed that all four of them fit in this box. You got some really interesting artwork on the front. You got the T-Rex right here and the T-Rex transform in the robot mode. Unfortunately, the robot modes on these figures does not look like this artwork. I kind of wish they do, because that is some really neat artwork. And, this says funny dinosaurs, robot deformation. On the other side, we have another artwork of what the transformations look like. You can actually see what they look like right here. They look nothing like the artwork, but you know what? They are still really cool. So enough about the box. Let's take a look at these figures. So here is a Mattel Snap Squad. I actually had to go to the store and buy one because I don't collect the Snap Squads, but I want to have one here for comparison. You can see that these knockoffs are a lot bigger than the official product, and they're definitely not as textured and as detailed as the Mattel ones, but these definitely have their own charm to it. They actually are all really nicely painted. One of mine has the Rex over here. The other side just has a little bit of paint mishap with the eye right here, but these are knockoffs, so I wasn't really expecting too much quality control. But one thing I do really like about these, with these Snap Squads, the legs and arms and tails are really, really loose. I mean, their main gimmick is just to have this snapping jaw feature on these. These figures actually have really tight joints and more articulation than the Snap Squad. You actually get a little bit of ankle tilted right here, and it's held in by a pin, and it is really, really tight. You can get some, more poses with these than you would with the standard Snap Squad. Same thing with the legs. They're not going to flop all over the place like the Snap Squad figures. You get some articulation on the arms. Now, the jaws do not snap like the Snap Squads. On this Carnotaurus, that's about the widest you can open the mouth, because the transformation does take up a lot of room in the heads right there, so you're not going to get that wide open mouth like you do on the Mattel figures. But yeah, they're really cool. You get some nice arm articulation. There is no side-to-side tail movement on these knockoffs like the Snap Squads. They have a little joint right here on the tail, so they don't have that. So they are definitely really interesting. I'm really liking these things, and I haven't even transformed them yet for the review. But before we transform them, let's just take a close look at each figure. This one is the Carnotaurus. You can see the eyes painted in bright orange with a black pupil. You get some nice paint apps for the coloration on here. The figure is mostly a maroon color with dark brown markings. The next figure is the Dilophosaurus, and I pay attention to what everyone's collecting, and I believe the original green Dilophosaurus Snap Squad figure is actually quite rare. So I guess if you want like a cheap alternative to add one to your collection, I guess you can go with this bootleg. The Dilophosaurus is definitely a weird looking figure, and it's one of the ones that can definitely open its mouth wider than some of the other figures. And next one up is Rexy. I really like the shading on Rexy's head. It looks really, really nice. Even though this is a bootleg figure, the teeth are nicely painted and sculpted. Bright yellow eye with a black pupil. There's some brown banding down the back right here. The toe claws. They're not painted in. It's just a black piece on the bottom that fills in the toes. And the last one to take a quick look at is blue, and that definitely looks like blue. You got the bright eye with the slit black pupil and some blue markings on here. And her mouth actually can open up quite wide too. For some reason, the mouth of my Carnotaurus does not want to open wide, and the mouths do close pretty flush on these figures. So let's move on to transformation. The box does come with instruction, but these things are super, super simple to transform. So what you want to do is lift the head up and then split the jaw right here. You can see the seam right here. Once you split the jaw, you can then rotate the head around and have the head lay flush against the back. Then you want to rotate up the bottom jaws like that. And then on the sides right here, you can see the arms of the figure are tucked in. You just want to drop those down to get the arms extended and then just straighten the legs. This panel right here pops open, which reveals the head. You just have to get your fingernail in there to rotate the head up. And then there's two notches right here. This bottom notch is where there we go. And this is why they're knockoffs. Actually, even the very, very expensive Hasbro Transformers, the panels do pop off quite easily. These bottom tabs right here is for when the body is transformed in dinosaur mode. So what you want to do is just push it up on this hinge and lock it into that upper tab. And that is it for transformation. The other three figures transform exactly the same. So since they all transform the same, I will transform them off camera to spare you watching me fumble with these things any longer. And here they all are transformed. Like I said, they all transform exactly the same. And they're all pretty similar looking in robot mode. These give off a very Beast Wars vibe, and that's probably why I'm really liking these so much. I'm a huge Transformers fan, and I absolutely love Beast Wars. And speaking of Beast Wars, one of these right here has a head that is very suspiciously looks like Beast Wars Megatron. You can see you got some green eye paint right there, and you got an emblem for, I guess, whatever faction these knockoffs belong to. So the bottom jaws become like these like huge shoulders on these figures, and you have these little arms that flip out, and they just have a little bit of articulation. They just swing up and down. You don't get really any side to side movement with them. So, and the rest of the articulation is just exactly the same as if you had them in dinosaur mode with the articulation at the ankles and the legs. So yeah, these things are pretty cool. So here is a close-up of the Dilophosaurus. These other three faces on these really don't look like they resemble any Beast War characters I remember, but if they look familiar to anyone, please let me know in the comments. And here is Robot Blue. You can see some red eye paint in there, and they look so weird with those little arms hanging off their chest right next to their robot arms. And here is Rexy. Get some nice blue paint on the eyes right here. So yeah, these things are definitely really fun and weird looking. I mean, for 15 bucks, I am not complaining about these. All right, let's just do a few quick comparisons, and plus the other reason I really want to do this review gives me excuse to have some Transformers in my reviews. First up is Earthrise Optimus Prime, and next up is Earthrise Starscream. And fun fact, the Scream in Dino Scream reviews is for Starscream because he is my favorite Transformer of all time. And next up is another Earthrise figure. Here it is with Earthrise Snapdragon. And next up is, I got too much stuff on this review table, is Generations Rhinox to have a Beast Wars comparison. Man, that I love that Rhinox, but man, it is a very floppy figure. And next up is Masterpiece Megatron that absolutely dwarfs these figures. And fun fact, this Megatron is actually a knockoff, and surprisingly, it's much better than the original. It costs like a third of the price. And lastly, because he is so weird and animal-like, here it is with Earthrise Skylinks, which is probably one of my favorite figures I have picked up recently. I absolutely love this Earthrise Skylinks. It's such a fun figure to play with. So, final thoughts on these little knockoffs. I think they're cool. If you collect the Jurassic World Snap Squad figures, I think these are a cool little addition to your collection. Since they're bigger than the original Snap Squads, it'll add a little bit more size variation among the figures. And plus, they transform, and that's a really, really cool feature. You know, like I said, as soon as I found out these things transform, I didn't even hesitate to order them. And speaking of ordering them, the link is in the description if you want to order these from Amazon. It's about $15 for the 4-pack of these figures. So let me know in the comments what you think of these knockoff Snap Squad figures, and I definitely want some of whatever the guy that looked at the Snap Squad and says, you know what, these would make cool little robots, because I definitely need some of that. So I hope you enjoy this review. A little bit different than what we normally do on the channel. When I first started this channel, I think it's going to be 2 years in January, I actually wanted to do dinosaurs and review Transformers, but I never got around to reviewing the Transformers. I just decided to stick mainly to dinosaurs because there's a million people that do Transformers reviews, and I'm very happy just keeping the channel exclusively to dinosaurs. But when something like this that kind of meshes those two, favorite hobbies of mine together, I feel the need that I'm going to have to review them. And you know what? The next wave of Transformers figures is Kingdom, so we're going to get some Beast Wars stuff. So if there's some dinosaur Transformers in there, I might actually review them on the channel to keep the theme going. And I also got some of the last of the 2020 collecting figures, so I'll be doing reviews of those figures later on this week, so keep an eye out for those. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and is greatly appreciated, and I'll see you guys for the next one.